bitches. They do. They love a girl with boundaries and confidence and self-esteem and this attitude that you're not good enough. They just crave it. I think it's the challenge. There's so many different things to it, but there's one thing I know for sure is that nice girls really finish last unless they play the bitch card first. Now, just in case you're new to this podcast, my name is Air. Go ahead and do all that fun stuff like follow and like and share, and you can tell that I am in a mood today. And it's because I was a nice girl. I was such a sweet girl. I was even in the people-pleasing category. I had dated guys that I really thought were the one and just was taken advantage of in so many different ways for my kindness, whether it was through relationships or it was through business or even friendships. So at the end of the day, my mindset had to shift. I had to develop more confidence, more self-concept, know my worth, and then also just exercise that word of no. Now, I am in a fantastic relationship today. It is one of those relationships where there's a lot of respect, there's a lot of love, and if you want to check us out, go to my Instagram, it's Air Kraehmer, and you can see, you can get everything you want and more by uncovering your feminine abundance, your feminine mindset, enter into soft girl era. Don't be forcing anything, go with the flow, and harness this black cat energy. So here we go. Men love bitches. And maybe you don't like that word, so you can interchange it with men love a confident woman, men love a woman that has strong boundaries, men love a woman that basically really hones in on her self-worth and isn't afraid to be able to express that. You may be thinking of Angelina Jolie or Grace Kelly or even Princess Diana towards the latter half of her life was very much honed in on knowing your self-worth and not being afraid to say no. So if you want to really start capturing a man's attention, it's going to sound counteractive, but you need to dive into this super deep, pay attention, get out your pen and paper because we are about to do a lesson. And here it is. You need to learn how to say no and stick to it. And you need to learn that no is a full sentence. If you feel like you're going to get in trouble, or if you feel like really, really tense whenever you hear that, good. Absolutely, you're on the right track because it is super uncomfortable when you've been people pleasing your whole life or saying yes to everything and everyone and sacrificing your own comfortable nature, your own value, your own time, energy to complement somebody else or a different project or even a group of people. Of course, it's going to be uncomfortable because it's not familiar. Now, one thing you may not know about me is I am studying psychotherapy as an MCS. I work with relationships. I work with a lot of self-concept work. In fact, I just published a book. I'm excited for it because I get to go speak about it in Australia. And the book is called Luxury for Love and is the art of dating strategically, marrying wealthy and feminine abundance. It's on Amazon and it's on the website, airkraehmer.com. If you want to grab a copy, it is the playbook. If you are somebody that wants to elevate your life, date wealthy, date abundantly, not be messing with these playboys, get your self-concept right, I'm here for it. But let's rewind because this is a lesson that you're going to find in the book and it's something I need you to hold on to. Your subconscious loves the familiar because the familiar seems safe. Think about it. If you've been trained for the fight, then you're always prepared for the fight and you're like, okay, I'm ready. But at the end of the day, you don't deserve to be living in that fight. There's another quote that says that you'll choose an unfamiliar heaven, let me get this right. You will choose the familiar hell over the unfamiliar heaven. Even me saying that now with my mind actually programmed correctly wants to change it. But that's just it. It's like I've done the work and I'm inviting you to do the work as well so that your subconscious doesn't even register the quote as it is. And you will start choosing to be uncomfortable for a little bit in order to get what you want or in order to actually achieve your goals. So you need to learn to say no. And no doesn't necessarily make you a bitch, but it does make you confident. It's like saying yes to yourself when you say no to things that are not going to help you, that are not going to serve you. Okay? For instance, I have a firm rule. I don't really do this anymore because I'm in a relationship, but when I was single and I was dating, I have a firm rule. Do not message me after 9 p.m. I'm not going to answer. Do not try to schedule a date with me after 9 p.m. I'm going to laugh at you. Like, just so strictly in my, like, this is my boundary, this is my rule, and you can try to break it, but I actually trust myself more that I'm not going to break it. And that type of firm, just confidence right out the gate got me so many more high value dates and high value men because I was not afraid to lose them. I'm like, okay, well, if you can't respect me on this one little thing, then you're not for me. I don't want you. And they don't like that. I tell you, they do not like that. So understanding that no will give them this kind of tantrum feeling and they'll want to test it because men love the challenge. That's why they love bitches. Kind of point two here on your paper is the challenge is what makes this so worthwhile and why it works. Okay? Men every single day are programmed to go out into the world and to conquer. Whether that means conquer their job, whether that means get the girl, whether that means become, successful to the point where they can retire, whatever it be, that's their programming. Their primal programming is to go for the hunt, to go for the chase, to go for the unobtainable and make it theirs. They crave it, they want it all the time, and you, being a woman in your feminine mindset and your receiving mindset and your high value mindset, need to get with that program. Okay? If you start serving yourself on a platter with them and saying yes to every little thing that they want, you are setting yourself up for failure. And this is something that every single man I've ever dated or coached or even have had a conversation with, they can get on board with. They're like, yeah, we do like the chase, we like to pursue, and it could be money, it could be items, it could be spirituality, it could be a woman, anything. Men love the hunt. So don't make yourself just this super obtainable girl that's okay with everything. You can say no to things and you can make yourself the challenge. And by doing that, you are actually increasing his attraction and bringing him closer. You make the mistake when you decide to let go of what you want to pursue him. This happens with relationships even. Let's say that you've been dating for a little while and suddenly you're going everywhere he wants to go. You're doing everything he wants to do, hang out with all of his friends, and you've now let go of your hobbies. You've let go of your friends, and you've just said yes to every single thing that he brings up. And what that does is that makes you boring. I am being 100% in my persona energy today. That makes you so boring. Like, where did you go? Why would I want to date you? Right? Why would I want to be with you? And that type of energy is exhausting because they don't know what to do with it. And it's kind of like whenever a cat is playing with a ball back and forth, it gets bored and it just throws the ball away. You don't want to be the ball, okay? You want to be if anything, the laser light that the cat just cannot figure out. And you're like, what on earth? Like the cat's going crazy for this laser light against the wall, and then it's on the floor, and then it's on the ceiling. It can't keep up. And that is because you being, bring the metaphor back here, are being yourself. You're being who you authentically are. You are not letting that go. And that can come off a little bit stubborn sometimes. And that can come off a little bit like my way or the highway. And in a true relationship, an authentic relationship, there will be compromise. But baby girl, and you don't have the ring, you don't have the compromise, okay? The ring is the compromise if that's your goal. Now, if your goal is to material wealth or to be treated like abundant, like princess treatment. That's a different conversation, and you can apply it as needed. Again, go back to the book, Love for Luxury. Like, I will walk you through that as well if marriage isn't your goal. But at the end of the day, the confidence is still there, the challenge is still there, and the boundaries are still there. And think about it when it comes to just who you want to be. Okay? Do you want to enter into a relationship where you lose yourself? Do you want to enter into a relationship where you don't feel good enough, or you're questioning what he's doing when he's out with his friends, or he's working late, or whatever it be, business trips? Like, no. If you are the woman that is a challenge, you're the woman that he invests all of his resources in, he doesn't have enough bandwidth and resources to be able to go chase someone else. That is the beauty of black cat energy. Okay? I'm going to be a little bit brutal here, but again, I'm kind of in that mood right now. If you are so afraid, which, by the way, you shouldn't be in a relationship if you're like fear-based mentality. Like, we need to work on the self-concept. So go and watch any other video I have that's about self-esteem, confidence, or healing. Okay? But at the end of the day, if we're going to go with this whole men love bitches mentality, then think of it this way. If you are being someone that he invests all of his resources and time in, like, he doesn't have time to go do that with somebody else, because he's making sure that you have the pretty dress, and he's making sure that you're happy, and that, you feel safe, and that opens up the door to what men want the most. Men do not want a maid for their relationship. They can go hire a maid, okay? They do not want a cook. Like, they can go hire a cook. Is it nice if you cook and you clean? Of course, right? Like, let's go back to just basic humanity, and like being in healthy relationships is a partnership, but that's not what they want. What they actually want is companionship. Time and time again, every single report, every single case, every single study goes back to companionship. Whereas women want to feel safe. And if you can really start playing on the right playground, you'll figure it out. You'll be in that healthy relationship. You'll be in that abundant relationship. You'll be living your best dreams. I promise you. But most people get hung up on the I want him to love me type of thing. No, you want him to respect you, and that will be coming out in the form of love, because when he respects you, he will play on your playing field, and he will nurture and support and love and physical touch and gifts and whatever, right? So respect him. He'll reciprocate, right? Show you love back. Not love him. Like, love is essential, but that's not what they actually want the most. They want respect the most, right? And we're playing with their psychology. We're not trying to change the man. You can't. You cannot change the man. It is as old as time, right? What you can do is you can be influential, and that's great. But most of the time, you cannot go in there and just play with his brain. Like, we're not doing manipulation. We're being very straightforward, and manipulation is a game, and games end, right? And if you want a long-term happy relationship and you're manipulating, playing the game eventually has to end. Therefore, the relationship will end. It's very simple, okay? So come back here, all right? Men love bitches because they know who they are, okay? You do not know who you are. If you have not taken the time, whether it was by yourself or in a relationship, you can still do it. You can do both, right? Most people learn more about who they are when they're single, right? But if you are already in a relationship and you're trying to bring back the attraction and make it alive again, like, know who you are. Figure out what you dislike, what you enjoy, what are your triggers, what are your glimmers. And if you don't know what those mean, is like a trigger is something that makes you have a lot of negative emotion evoked, or even a trauma. Versus a glimmer is little moments from your past and your memories that just make you smile instantly, right? Like the scent of, pumpkin cookies makes me smile because it reminds me of fall, and it reminds me of my favorite season and all of the lovely things I love to do in the fall, okay? So that's a glimmer. But you need to know those things about yourself. You also need to know what are your, working stepping stones, right? If you were to plan your life in 5 years with me and just shut your eyes, what does that life look like? Okay. Are you living next to the ocean and the beach? Or are you in a European cottage surrounded by wildflowers? Are you out in the country and you have horses? Or are you in a bustling city like Manhattan and, going to bookstores and drinking lavender lattes, right? You have to have that vision for yourself. You have to be very clear on what man you want in that vision. Men do this. And this is why they succeed so much more when it comes to integrating a woman into their life. Because that's what a man wants to do. He wants to build the house, the foundation, and then invite the woman into it to be able to make it the home, to multiply the energy. Okay? So if you are just going with the flow, you're going to find yourself in a house that you don't like. Okay? You're going to find yourself in this situation where you're like, well, I got the man. Yay. Well, you didn't actually get the relationship you wanted, and you actually didn't get the lifestyle you wanted because you were too busy saying anything goes. As long as I got him, right? And I'm like, okay, well, that man's still a man. He's going to do a lot of things that you're not going to enjoy. And would you rather be frustrated, strung out, losing, your hair, getting the acne on your face, and just, I always tell people, you can tell exactly what type of relationship a woman is in by looking at her skin. Like, is it broken out and dull? Because that will tell you everything you need to know about her relationship. Or would you rather, right off the bat, quote unquote, be a bitch, right? Set your standards, know what you want for your life. If you want to be a traditional, feminine woman and to not work full time and to invest in the household and the social life and create and just have that soft girl life, keep that in mind because that's going to be important. If you get a guy that wants 50-50 with you, that's not a good match. Doesn't matter if he's the most eligible bachelor in the world. He's not your bachelor, and you need to let that go, right? And you need to be very clear with him, especially if he's trying to pursue you on you don't want the same thing. And if he, for whatever reason, is willing to be like, I will give you what you want, then that's a different, conversation. That's an invitation, but I would tread very lightly there. At the end of the day, he's going to go back. He will go back to his default, and it's just not compatible. And in a relationship, you need the 3 C's, hands down. You need compatibility, you need some chemistry, and you need some commitment. Okay? If you don't have those, it's not going to last. So just be a bitch, because that means that you are keeping yourself from crying later. Now, you don't have to be hateful, right? You don't have to crush his dreams or say horrible things about him. Not for me. And he will probably call you a bitch. He'll probably say that you're stuck up. He'll probably say that you think that you're better than him. And just enjoy it. Because weak men that cannot handle rejection, men that hate women, let's be real, will try to crucify you for it. They will try to crucify you whether you're the nice girl or the mean girl if they can't have you. Immediately, if they see you, out the streets, if you're wearing a short skirt or something like that, or just being yourself, you can be yoga pants. They'll still be hateful, okay? So you might as well walk out there, metaphorically, with your head held high and with your confidence intact and your self-esteem strong. They can't stand it. They cannot stand a woman that is very powerful if they're a weak man. Now, the masculine men that I know that are healthy and abundant and honestly the ones that are high value and successful, they're not afraid of a powerful woman. One thing I love about my relationship is he'll straight up tell me, I'm not afraid of your emotions. You're a woman. You're the most feminine woman I know. I'm not afraid of them. I know that comes with being with a woman. If I didn't want to be with a woman, you'd be with a man, right? We're going to be emotional. We're going to want to create, and we're going to have our menstrual cycles. And we don't need to be overly, aggressive with those, but we need to be very assertive. And that comes out being kind of bitchy, okay? So let's see if I missed anything. Oh, this is my favorite part. Independence. Men love bitches because they're super independent. Men does not want, or a man does not want to be like, she needs me, she's so clingy, she like can't operate without me. No, that makes them feel like they're suffocating. But a bitch, she automatically makes you feel like she doesn't need me. I want to give her everything. It's so funny. The art of detachment is like, want for nothing, receive everything. And whenever you can really understand that concept, things will start magnetically just showing up in your life. And independence is attractive. Does that mean that you need to make all the money in the world? No. What's beautiful is the most independent women I know don't necessarily have a ton of money. But what they're willing to do is, if they're in a relationship and they're being financially supported, is they make it known like they want to be there. They're invested in the relationship. They care about their partner. They love their partner. They nurture and support, and they're very peaceful with their partner. But their partner also knows that they're not afraid to leave, that they have options. And while they will treat him like the king that he is, they're not afraid to be like, well, if this doesn't work out, if you start treating me poorly, or if you start acting up and being a fool out there, I'm gone. And that is powerful versus the no matter what you do, I'm going to stay type of energy. Like, that's super weak. And if it makes you sound like a bitch to be like, I have options and I'm willing to leave, then be the bitch. They actually love it. Finally, it's all about excitement. Is that thrill of the chase again? Men really enjoy whenever something's not easy. And they love a little bit of cat and mouse type of game, especially when they win it. Like, I love this. And it's a little bit, I don't know, it's a little bit spicy, if you will. But I don't really have like huge arguments in my relationship. And I love that. Like, there's no critical foundational problems. And that's what makes it healthy. But, if we spend too much time together, or if we're in a weird situation, we can get a little bit like in a tiff. And tiny bit of a story time, but it's going to kind of bring this home, was we were out and we had gone to this football game with myself, my partner, and then a friend of his. And we got in a little bit of a tiff. It was nothing major, but it was enough to make me a little bit like one way and him a little bit one way. And I got a little bit snippy. For whatever reason, I got snippy. And after the game, it turned out that we had to walk like 1.5 miles to get to our Uber Lyft. And the tension of I'm not caving and he's not caving and we're being a little bit stubborn, and that kind of like him trying to lean in and seeing if the waters were kind of safe and then leaning back out, like that is the sexual tension that like fosters like a really, really intense, ignition, right? And that doesn't come if you're not being a little bit of a bitch. If you are like immediately like, oh my goodness, you were ready to forgive me and I'm ready to forgive you, and we just fall into it, like, sure, it's like, okay, we're back, and we get very bored very quickly, versus like that tension that we built up for, I don't know, maybe 1.5 hours, whenever we did have, the come back together, the resolve. And it wasn't even a matter of like having a huge conversation. It was both of us being like, this is ridiculous. Like, we're walking and like we're both being a little bit bratty and XYZ. But that tension, that sexual chemistry had fostered so much through me, quote unquote, being a little bit more bitchy, not letting go of my boundaries, not just caving in, not being a people pleaser, saying like, no, you disrespected me, I don't like that. I like, just that type of attitude. It was fire. And those are very healthy things in a relationship. It's not the horrible toxicity that you get in some relationships, but you do need to have some ignition, some fire. And he knows he can't mess with me. And I respect him more for it. Because when you have equal respect on both platforms, That's where love and connection and bigger chemistry can come into play. But if you are not afraid to set your boundaries, if you're not afraid to beat the challenge, if you're not afraid to just let go of the outcome, you're never going to get there. You're going to be stuck. You're going to be always feeling this lackluster, and you're going to be wondering why all these other girls are getting shopping trips and extravagant gifts, and even more important than that, they're getting very happy relationships. Like, you're going to be stuck. I don't want you to be stuck. So please, revisit these notes. Revisit this video as many times as needed. Work with me one-to-one. Better yet, come to my retreat in the Bahamas. It's January 16th through the 21st, literally in a couple of months. We have a whole beachfront villa available, and it is private. It is 5 days where we completely reset your mind. It's called Clarity Reset. We will reset your mind, your health, and your emotions to where you walk into 2025 with full of feminine abundance ready. You automatically know what you need to do for your diet plan to get the best body of your life, exercise plan for the best body of your life, and mostly you have the mental strength to carry forward on any goal that you have and start attracting your dreams rather than being a workaholic all the time. And I'm completely there for it. Like 100% bells on for you to accomplish this. It is time to step into our feminine abundance, to hone in on that energy, and to get what you deserve. All right. I will talk to you later, my Black kitties.